Hey, gals, guys, and otherwise, this is Jonathan O. Roseland.
And I'm Noah, also known as Polyphonic, and you're listening to Horns and Wings, the podcast where we talk about Saga one issue at a time.
Nice, and we're going to be talking about issue 29, and that thing I said last week about being excited to be back in this world, I take it back. I don't want to do it. I hate all of it. No, thank you. Let's dive in. Noah,
How about that cover?
No, how about that cover, Noah? Just a heads up, though. I'm feeling pissy. I'm feeling in a pissy mood. I'm gonna be a piss boy on this one, I think.
Oh God,
I'm gonna be a real piss boy on this one. I'm feeling
that's
cheeky.
Piss Boy better be the name of this episode.
immediate episode title. I love it. But yeah, so you're gonna have to bring the positivity on this one, Noah.
It actually would have been more fitting for you to be a piss boy a few issues ago when there was a major piss plot point.
Oh, I was a different kind of piss boy. I was the good kind of piss boy. Now I'm the bad kind of piss boy. Okay, the bad kind of piss boy is the episode title. Revision. Noah, what are we looking at with this cover?
I love this cover because this cover is like the closest that Saga has come to like an Avengers style cover.
Yeah.
Except the Avengers are a group of radical terrorists.
You mean the Avengers? That's my take, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's the last revolution drawn in kind of just like superhero action pose against, again, just a beautiful orange background. It's very Saga, but it's also very comic booky with like Julep's got her kind of like knee up and her arm in the air, and there's a generic laser beam of some kind. Coming out of Big Ear Boy's hand.
It looks like a lightning bolt.
And robot person is shooting a gun. Yeah.
That's what, and I now know, the spoilers for this issue, but when I first looked at this, my prediction was that lightning bolt was some classic Fiona staples, not Apple, as we've been struggling with today. That is some classic Fiona staples foreshadowing, I think. My assumption was there is going to be a lightning spell cast at some point this issue.
Oh.
And we'll see if past me who knew nothing is at all intelligent. Generally not. But yeah, no, this is pure like 90s Marvel kind of just heroes in a void type of thing. Which fucking Noah, we do a whole podcast where we talk for over an hour a week about every detail of this fucking thing. And still, I was already pissed off about us missing Julep being mint colored and wearing fishnets, but also she doesn't have feet, and I don't know how we didn't realize.
I was just thinking, it's really fucking creepy, right?
Yeah,
it's weird.
Like permanent ballerina feet. Like they come to a point, which actually, speaking of 90s Marvel, it kind of looks like Rob Liefeld feet. So it makes the cover perfect. But yeah, no, they come to a point and they have their little fins.
I was thinking just generally Julep here has a bit of Rob Liefeld energy.
Oh yeah. Not scantily clad enough though. The 4 inches of her body that are covered,
which is pretty impressive. Yeah.
I love it though. That's a fun take for this cover.
All right. So
and hey, we're doing something new, aren't we?
I was about to tell them, John. God damn it. Fuck you.
You know what? I was gonna say we've been on a juice cleanse, but what were you gonna say? They got it out of the way.
So we've decided to actually like do more episode prep. It's the first time I've ever done episode prep. John usually does a lot of episode prep, but
Now I have to do even more episode prep.
Instead of stumbling our way through our scene summaries, we've each written out little summaries beforehand. So we're gonna read the scenes. We're gonna go through like we usually would, scene by scene, and each scene, instead of like gazing at the panels as we read out what happens, we'll have these nice little canned things, and hopefully that'll be easier to follow, and I also hope it'll open up some more space to talk about what's going on in the scenes more efficiently.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get through them a bit faster, and to make them a little more interesting. Because also, this is something that's been bothering me since episode 1, is that we spend all this time recapping scenes, and there might be people who read along or just read the issue because they knew the episode was coming up, and so that has to be the most boring thing. So you know what, we're gonna throw a little music in under these things to give myself even more post-production on this, but that music for this scene sounds like this. Beautiful. Hey Noah,
that's where you put in Ba Wata Ba by Kid Rock, right?
Just the like 8-bit MIDI version of that. Old ringtone version. All right, well now I have to fucking find that, so that's even more post-production. God damn it. All right, and new music. All right, Noah, hit us up with that scene.
All right. So, continuing the trend for this arc, we open on 3 large panels, and see, so this is the thing with my write-ups. I was gonna go back in and put his name in because I forgot it. I remembered it later in the scene, but I'm just gonna read it verbatim. I said, see, what's his snake boy name negotiating with Veds from Wreath High Command? He mentions that Wreath has spent a fortune trying to bury the story of Hazel, and we learn that they're doing an exchange where Wreath is gonna set free hundreds of the last revolution's prisoners in exchange for Hazel. And then Vez also says for Quain to just kill Alana, and it seems like the deal is going well. And then Vez spots Dango and loses her fucking shit. She tells Quain that she would never negotiate with those death machines, and so Quain's just like, oh, that's fine. Julep, just kill Dango.
Who saw it coming?
And then we end on some HTN trademarked, which goes, ask a child's guardians what it takes to be good at their jobs, and most will answer with a single with a single word, sacrifice.
There we go.
How is that for a summary? Too brief? Good? Solid?
Briefer than mine will be, but also this is just a little 3-page thing.
Yeah, this scene's pretty brief. Yeah. My other ones are a bit longer.
You know what? If we fill the rest of the time with talking about how it went, then we can get that classic Horns of Wings runtime too. Something I didn't put in the summary, but that I really want to talk about is how fucking cool is it. So on the opening scene, you see them talking to Vez, and it looks like she's on this kind of big round screen in their ship. But then we cut to see Vez's perspective, and she's standing in a yellow swamp that is shooting out a dripping bubble, and in that bubble is Quain and the vision she's talking to. That's so cool. Which, a reminder, Vez is the unicorn horned head of the horns, as far as we know, as far as we've seen, from issue 1.
And we suspect Velour's mother.
Yeah. So she's making a comeback. I love that's so cool with the dripping golden metallic orb.
I want to learn so much more about Wreath specifically, and what Wreath is like and what their magic looks like, and it just feels like there's so many of these tiny moments of world building with Wreath, because it's you see a sun above her. Is she on a certain planet or
Yeah, and I think that yellow sky is consistent with what we've seen. Wasn't it the flashback of Marco seeing the battlefield ghost? Wasn't that a yellow sky too? So
yeah,
that seems like it's just Wreath's atmosphere. which is very cool.
Yeah, it's a really neat. Just again, these are the kind of things that I don't really think I even noticed that much on first couple of read-throughs, just because you're just so kind of involved in the plot. I think this is also interesting because I think this is a scene that's very kind of a dialogue heavy scene, but as the summary showed, like there's a lot of talking, but not really. We don't learn like that much necessarily, but it does a good job of setting the scene, I think.
Yeah. Also, we do have some blue language here to translate. We get Clara yelling out.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to read it out and I'll try to translate it?
Of course. It's V burocrata pico de murdo.
Is this you bureaucratic piece of shit?
That is exactly it. Congratulations.
Yes.
Which, yeah, her yelling is what brings Vez's attention to Dango, and my absolute favorite part of this scene is when Quain tells Julep to kill Dango. We get the surprised reaction of Dango and Clara just looking over at him with the most like Clara ass like what I expected all of this. This is zero surprise. Like good fucking riddance. Look to him. It's amazing.
What I think is cool in this scene that we get to is I think throughout this arc we've kind of seen like an increasing level of scale and power level where like you start with Dango and then Quain comes in, and Quain is clearly a more powerful, more influential person, and then Dango and then Quain is talking to Vez, and you see Vez kind of having no time for Quain's shit and like not really being willing, like being. It almost seems like she's disgusted at the fact that she even has to negotiate with him.
Yeah. It's also just it's really interesting that she's so offended by the existence of Dango and there being a robot there, which is weird because it really feels like, you know, a lot of the time it feels like, oh, we'll just do whatever we need to you know, make a deal to get what we want or whatever. But that's it almost feels like a plot contrivance, but we haven't seen anything like that directly contradicts her being that offended by the existence of a robot. So that's hopefully something we get a little more expansion on. The term death machines really stuck out to me.
Also, one more little thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just love that Julep has a Band-Aid over her nose.
Yeah.
From where Alana elbowed her last time.
That is the Julep cosplay I want to see, is bandaged, punished Julep.
All right, should we move on to the next scene?
Let's keep it moving.
All right, let's hear your summary.
Cut to Gwendolyn, Lion Cat, Sweet Boy, Sophie, and Sophie climbing the gold-streaked mountain on, what was it, Demimonde?
Yep.
Probably should have written that down. The HTN continues talking about
piss-streaked mountain.
The piss-streaked mountain. Classic Piss Boy. Now is it classic Piss Boy? The HTN continues talking about how parents sacrifice everything except complaining about how much they sacrifice. Younger Sophie asks, "Are we there yet?" And Gwendolyn swears on Lion Cat that she'll throw her off a cliff if she asks that one more time. And Lion Cat, by the way, says nothing, so she's clearly serious about that. We get some backstory from the brand that she visited this mountain with her mother and the Will when they were younger, after their father died. Their mother was a better person than the brand could ever hope to be, which Lion Cat calls out as a lie, and then the brand pats Lion Cat on the head and says, "Flatterer."
I love Lion Cat.
It's great. And also the Will's cloak is just a costume he bought with his first paycheck. apparently. And meanwhile, they reach the opening in the mountain that looks like a massive, like, sharp-fanged grin in the side of the mountain. It's really creepy. The Bran points out that the male dragons have really good hearing, so they sneak in very quietly, and then they see it. Noah,
we get this is what a page turn. What a fucking page turn.
But before the page turn, we get to see the reaction to it, which is just pure horror and disgust, and Gwendolyn has to cover Sophie's eyes. And then we get the page turn, and it is then we have the exact same reaction as them, as we see a double page spread of like 100-foot long dragon lying on its back using its long serpenty tongue to suck its own dick. And
to autofillate.
Autofillate. Thank you for the medical term. And it is horrifying and upsetting, and I'm turning the page now.
It is a beautiful, majestic beast.
It seems like it has it looks a little more dragon-like than the females, but I'm not gonna look at it anymore. Gwendolyn points out that if the dragon is like most guys, he'll be fast asleep after he finishes. The Bran says she'll sneak down there and scoop up the goop when that happens. Sophie argues that the Will getting hurt was her fault, so she should be the one to do it, but the Bran shuts her down, and we end on a frustrated Sophie with Hazel's narration. But here's the secret about most sacrifices: there's nothing selfless about them at all. And that is that scene. So this is another iconic moment in Saga that everyone thinks of.
This is our third double splash, right?
Is that all? I feel like there has to be
Time-sucking King Robot.
There's not another. No, we got even first issue we had the double splash of the battle.
Oh yeah,
happening.
True. There is
I'd imagine there are a couple random, but yeah, those are definitely the ones that stick out.
Yeah, this is just a classic example of Saga out-Sagaing itself.
And what a use of... There's actually a very good use of scale here. An upsetting use of scale.
The other thing I'll say though is this dragon skull looks exactly like the dragon skull ship.
Oh yeah,
it's got the big kind of tusks coming up from the lower jaw.
And I'm just realizing that it makes perfect sense that we might have pointed this out before.
The same realization.
Yeah, that the Stalk has a dragon skull ship, and the planet she's from has a bunch of dragons on it. So started to add up.
Yeah, the world's coming together. There are some things I want to get to before the dragon too. So my biggest question: was the costume bulletproof, or did the Will modify it?
That's a very good question, and I wouldn't put it past him to modify it.
My guess is that he modified it.
Yeah.
But I don't know though. I don't know what I'm assuming she gets cut off, but I'm assuming it's gonna say it's a costume from the open circuit. I think that's the kind of vibe I get with its superhero-iness with the mask and the cape.
Right. Yeah, that wouldn't be surprising. Yeah, which is a thing we'll talk about further in how it influenced someone else in a later scene, and something we should have picked up on, but we did not. But yeah, it is. I mean, it looks badass. I don't blame him.
Oh yeah, no, it's dope. I would buy it. I would buy it in a minute, bulletproof or not.
Also, I just want to point out, sincerely, my favorite acting in this series so far is their reaction shot to seeing the dragon, where it is just pure terror. And it's walking in on your grandparents having sex. It is the worst.
This is another shot where you can see the anime and manga influence on Fiona Staples.
Yeah.
Their acting response there is very kind of comedically over the top in that sort of way.
Yeah, it's a bit cartoonish, and it's about as cartoonish as this book gets, and therefore that like makes it so much more effective.
And I love that Gwendolyn covers Sophie's eyes.
It is just such a, especially like Gwendolyn's face plus her covering the eyes and just the pose that results in this. It's just like all in an instant is just so funny. I love it.
Some other great acting here is the Lion Cat when the brand like gives Lion Cat a head rub.
Mm-hmm.
Lion Cat just looks so blissfully happy.
I feel like we're not getting enough Lion Cat. I miss Lion Cat.
I'm also just so stunned by the colors used on the mountain. Both of these, the like kind of creepy crag shot and the wide shot are just so beautiful.
It's like a pink and purple like sunset sort of look.
Yeah. Golden hour.
Yeah. We get these nice long shadows of a dragon sucking its own dick. It's beautiful. God, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Don't kink shame the dragon.
All right. Well, we survived that.
All right. Do we want to go to the next scene?
Let's go to the next scene and let's get some action music for this one.
Oh,
we can do that now.
Rollin' by Limp Bizkit.
Stop it. No.
I'm going to exclusively suggest shitty rap rock songs from the early 2000s.
I'm not even doing the earlier one now.
You were never going to do the earlier one.
Shh. Hush.
All right, so...
And action music.
So we get some transitional Hazel narration again. Last scene ended on... But here's the secret about most sacrifices. There's nothing selfless about them at all. And this one opens on... I mean, villagers don't toss their virgins into a volcano without expecting something better in return, right? I mean, it's kind of a point. So we're in space again with Marco and Prince Robot. The Dragon Skull ship is doing combat with the big... like boombox looking robot ship. Marco says their magnetic field is gone out, so another hit will kill them, to which Robot replies with an eloquent, no cunting shit. And just as he's saying their engines are useless, he gets a notification that the lines have been repaired. Marco gets serious and angry-faced and says, great, let's attack them. But Robot says... While I admire your sudden evolution from pansy to warlord, there's an argument for retreating. But they aren't able to outrun the bigger ship, so they decide to hopscotch, which Marco says would be suicide without mag fields. And Robot says... or homicide if I can take you insufferable losers with me. So then we get a space shot of the ship jumping into a portal, its front half disappearing, and then we cut to the robots on the ship, on the pursuit ship. Do you wanna grace us with their accents?
Did the prince just... Hold on. They're not quite posh. They're not quite lower.
The second one is what's really important.
Okay. Here, you give me a nice posh British accent for the first one, and I'll cover the second one.
All right. Did he just...
He ain't a prince anymore, which he cut out the prince part. We ain't gonna have heads once his father gets word. Can't see.
That's not what it says.
We ain't gonna have it. That's what mine says. Are we looking at the?
Yeah, that's weird. Mine says his father's gonna have our bleeding heads.
Whoa, hold on. Are you reading the omnibus?
Yeah.
I'm reading the trade paperback, and it literally says he ain't a prince anymore, and we ain't gonna have heads once his father gets word. Holy shit, we've discovered something here, Noah.
Conspiracy.
Oh, looks like BKV took another crack at it once for that omnibus edition. This is fascinating.
That's very weird. That's a strange little discrepancy. So mine is one robot saying, "Did he just?" and the other is a robot with a guillotine on his face saying, "His father's gonna have our bleeding heads."
Yeah, I don't even know. You know what? I've seen that done a couple of times with writers that were, I know it was somewhat famously done with a Tom King Batman. Once it went to graphic novel, cut out some unnecessary repetition of words that people were kind of making fun of him for. But yeah, no, this is interesting.
Huh.
So that's an exclusive right there.
Anyways, then we see the front half of the Dragon Skull ship jumping out of a portal in what can only be described as an asteroid field of ice cubes.
One of those Coca-Cola commercials before a movie.
Yep. Goose walks out of the engine room to deliver the news of Yuma, but before the crew have time to mourn, the ship crashes into an ice cube, causing the console to explode in Robot's face and the ship to plummet towards the nearby planet.
Yes. Big action.
Big action. Big drama.
Made even bigger by that good music.
I love that, like, jump, the hopscotching. Also, I love that it's called hopscotching, but they're kind of like, assume it's like a warp drive or light speed, or this universe's equivalent of that is called hopscotching, and I just love the illustration of it. It's so cool. On one page, half the ship disappearing into the void, then a panel in between, and then on the next page, it emerging.
Which we haven't seen yet, have we? Their sort of version of Lightspeed?
No, I don't think we have. No, or at least we haven't seen it like that. I think we've seen ships kind of just appear out of nowhere and be in the panel, but we haven't seen the action shot of it.
Well, we've learned something.
This is another great one where the background of the Dragon Skull ship just really allows for Rage Marco, because it's got the red windows, so everything is kind of tainted in this pinkish red haze, and Marco's rage once again looks very real and scary. But then it's interesting because on the red background, when Goose says that Yuma's dead, you see Marco's face kind of falling, and he doesn't look like the same kind of rage-filled monster. He looks more like Marco, right?
Yeah. But he's broken forever, and he'll always be bad. So we have that to look forward to.
Also, the most delightful little thing, when the console explodes and everyone's sent flying back and the ship is plummeting, Goose is just flying through the air, upside down, and says, "Oh, oh gosh."
Do you think it seems like, do you think they lost their, like, gravity field?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It could be that, or it could just be, like, their velocity being pulled into the planet.
Right. Yeah, I guess we'll find out, or not. Who knows? I fucking love that it's 8-bit graphics on the screens, the green screens of that guillotine. That's just the best. I want more. I want one of those as a main character.
I just want, like, one of those, like, lineup infographics of all of the different robots, like, and I want them to be displaying the same thing on their screen, but in different ways.
Yeah. No, that would be really fun. Go for it. Go for it, Mr. Designer.
I can't draw.
Yeah, just do it. You get Photoshop manipulation.
Actually, I probably could, and it would be pretty dope. Maybe I'll do that.
I've been doing a lot of pixel art thanks to Animal Crossing. You can add pixel art to stuff. So maybe I'll make my own 8-bit guillotine. Maybe I'll do it, Noah. Fucking stop me. I'm a piss boy today. I'm a rowdy little cheeky piss boy today, Noah. I'll do all my own art.
I also wanted to talk about something that I thought was interesting here is after Goose breaks the news of Yuma dying, we get Robot's reaction shot, and Yuma's face is on his screen, and it's a very flattering look of her face. Like, she looks very kind of like soft and traditionally beautiful, and he says, I don't know what to say. She wasn't a saint, but the old girl deserved better than... And do you think that that's like an authentic reaction, or do you think that's him putting it on?
I think he's just as he's surprised and sort of upset by it. I mean, she's been for him at least. She's been a good enough ship companion, especially compared to Marco and Goose. Like, I'm guessing that she was his favorite of the three. But yeah,
I don't think that's saying much.
Yeah, no, I know. But, even if, like, I think he definitely puts on a bit of his demeanor, and I think he would have the same reaction if it was Goose or even Marco.
Yeah.
I mean, he saved them.
This is true.
So, and it was Goose that sort of convinced him to do it, but still, like, yeah. I think he's softening up to them, and I think that's him showing that for a second. And then an explosion fucks him up in response to that. Yep. So that's what he gets for being nice.
I do think I love the Marco and 4 banter here too. It's just fantastic.
The I think as good as so many, because 90% of the great Prince Robot lines are just Britishisms with cussing but like, I think my favorite of this whole scene is belay that fuckery in response to Marco wanting to attack them.
Yeah, I mean, belay that fuckery, and I can't stress enough how much of a fan I am of no cunting shit.
He's great. He's a joy. Also, he's the worst.
All right, anything else on this scene?
Nope. I like that there's an asteroid belt of ice cubes around the frozen planet. That's pretty fucking dope.
Well, so I was actually wondering if maybe it's a ring, right?
Right. I think we pull back a bit later. It's hard to say, but that would also be pretty cool. I guess we'll find out in the nearish future. Yeah. Cool scene, fun action, crazy shit's happening, and some good character moments from both Marco's reaction to Yuma's death and Prince Robot. It was not in vain. Yeah.
It's showing. It's cool to see unlikely companions come together and actually like each other, learn to like each other a little bit.
Who'd have seen that coming?
Yeah.
It's so satisfying. Again, it's Saga being every genre and every trope.
Yeah.
And just the best version of all of it.
Exactly.
And taking it, being sincere about it. It's the best. All right.
We want to see some heavy shit now.
Some
real action.
Some real action, baby. All right, so
that seems to imply that like the space battle and the spaceship exploding wasn't real action.
Nah.
Let's say some more real action.
Some more real action of a suit of armor holding the leash of a walrus. The floating dragon skull ship looks like a shooting star in the sky from back on the surface of the frozen planet. We see, what was the
I forget.
The suit of armor that has a bunch of souls in it or whatever is guarding the outside of the ship with Friendo there. Ziz, aka Big Ears McBandolier, I think was the name we came up with, and Lexus, the girl in the Ninja Turtles mask, guard Alana in her holding cell on the hoof ship as she begs for them to let her just say goodbye to her daughter. She tries to appeal to Ziz by talking about how his home planet Cleve is where her and Marco first met, so that confirms him being the same species as... oh boy. Why is my brain not working? Isabel, thank you. I wanted to say Sophie. That's not even fucking close. So she's trying to appeal to him by saying that Cleve is where she met Marco, and Ziz responds, "Oh yeah? Because one of your armies was nice enough to drop a payload on my brother's wedding. Killed just about everyone I ever loved." So that doesn't work.
Yep.
She then tries to win over Lexus, pointing out that her mask must mean that she's an Open Circuit fan and that she played Zipless. Lexus says, "Yeah, right, if you're Zipless, who was making out with Slipjack in the episode that just aired?" And Alana is just devastated by the realization that she's been recast in the Open Circuit. And then we hear a noise from the other room, and it is back in the Dango room. And it is Julep's glowing golden sword charging up for a blast aimed at Dango. But he's suddenly shoved aside by Clara, who takes the sword's lightning blast in the shoulder. There's a lightning blast. I wasn't correct about it being a lightning spell, but it's a lightning blast. Clara holds the wound as she tells Dango to finish it. Dango grabs the gun in his pocket as Quain holds his club to Hazel's head, trying to talk Dango down. He says, "I'm sorry it had to go down this way, but if you bow out now like a gentleman, I give you my word we won't hurt your princeling, too." Very Quain line. Dango's screen becomes a black and white smiling sunflower as he says, "Keep your eyes on me, Hazel." He quick draws on Quain and that's where the sound effect goes in. Thank you. Quain's head bursts like a fucking water balloon of brains. It's gross. It's amazing. And then we cut to Vez on the screen, who only gets a few threatening words out before Dango blasts a hole through the screen she's on. Hazel cries and says, "Stop, no more bangs," or blams, really. Dango says it's all over, very comfortingly, and to go with her grandmother back to the treehouse. I said treehouse, back to the treehouse. I love how good he is with kids. He was a father. That adds up. "I'll finish up here," he says as he points the gun towards Julep. Hazel narration wraps up the scene. "Granny used to describe giving your life as the ultimate sacrifice, but I don't know about that." And that's the scene.
All right.
Crazy shit.
That is a happening scene. Let me say, first and foremost, most importantly, stop, no more bangs is what I was saying in like the late 2000s, when everyone was getting bangs.
Oh, God. Don't you shit on emo, John.
No, but actually,
if you thought I was a piss boy now, you should have seen late 2000s bangs, John. Boy.
This is just like, it reminds me a lot of the scene in Heist's house, where it's just kind of like spontaneously everything is happening at once and people are dying and people are fighting, and it's very, very amping up the stakes.
Although I will say, I don't know, obviously I'm biased having read it before, but I will say this is a classic piss boy observation here. I'm being a real cheeky piss, but I do think that the outcome was a little more predictable of them turning on Dango and Dango fucking them up because of it. But in a way, the comic being more predictable is less predictable because I do not predict it to be predictable. 400
IQ take.
Full galaxy brain on that one.
I think the thing is though that like the violence of Saga still shocks me every time. Like when he shoots Quain's head off, it reminds me of the clap, the infamous Will clap. There's guts everywhere. There's blood splattered onto Hazel's face. Like it is a very fast, unceremonious, and gory death.
Yeah. And for such a sort of like greater than thou character that like can always say the right thing to convince people of shit, and then it's just like fucking doesn't work.
Yeah.
Also, you know what? I'm just realizing something, I think, if I go back enough. Yes. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even realize that. When Quain is talking in his final couple lines here, it's all in yellow as if he's casting a spell. And it's as if he's trying to use his magic on Dango, but of course it does not work on him because he is a robot. So that's a cool little detail because if you go back earlier,
he's not.
He talks in black.
That's true. That's very neat.
Cool detail.
I also like that Zipless being recast also means that every other character, like Slipjack and all of them, were recast too. Because remember that Dango Straight murdered all of them.
It's a reboot going on the open circuit. What else did I want to? It's cool that she has a lightning sword.
Yep.
That Julep has a lightning sword.
Oh, actually, that's what I was gonna say. I love this lettering with Julep's lightning sword. The Vachow.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and add that back into.
Yeah, feel free to put that in the scene. Vachow. Vachow.
Here, hold on. Give me 3 more just so I can have them clean.
Vachow. Vachow.
That was it. That was the one.
Wait,
perfect.
No, one more. You say what? Vachow.
Thank you. I am gonna add that one back in the original thing. All right. This is a bonkers scene.
I actually like that you get the charge before you see Julep too, and you get them drawing to her, and then you cut back, and she's got this kind of like badass look on her face.
Mm-hmm. Oh, with her nothing personal one-liner too.
Yeah.
That acts as a really good scene transition of everyone in the cell hearing that noise.
Yeah,
it's good shit.
All right, shall we bring it home?
Let's bring it home.
John, I don't wanna.
Well, you know what? I'm the only piss boy here, Noah.
All right, so we get a straight beautiful establishing shot of Demimonde with the sun coming up behind the half of it that exists. Mm-hmm. And we get some good old-fashioned HTN. Dying is definitely the last sacrifice you can make, but sometimes it's your first one that sets the tone for everything that follows.
Glad that won't come into play.
That's ominous.
No, there's nothing. It's weird that they put that in there for no reason. Okay, go ahead.
Inside the ice cave, Gwendolyn and the Brand are looking down at the sleeping dragon, whose cave is now splattered with glowing jizz. Gwendolyn says, "I don't know what's more impressive, the velocity or the volume."
Oh, God.
And then kind of gags as the Brand is rolling up her sleeve. Meanwhile, Sophie has snuck down into the cave and is using the wineskin to collect the glowing dragon semen. Mm-hmm. Behind her, we see the dragon's eyes open, and then we see its gaping mouth going, presumably, to just mow on Sophie. Mm-hmm. And the end.
All right.
Then nothing else bad happens.
Thank you to Fiona Apple and Brian K. Vaughan, photographics.
No. The Brand runs towards Sophie to save her, and the dragon bites the Brand clean in half. Gwendolyn, Yeah. Gwendolyn's eyes glow red with electricity, and she shocks the dragon. But the shock throws her back. It does convince the dragon to skulk off with a sad "Harkoo."
Oh, he has a wide range there. Those high notes hit those low notes.
And Sophie looks on with horror and says, "Sorry." Our closing splash is Sophie apologizing, surrounded by Gwendolyn's body and the brand's disembodied legs. Sweet Boy howls, and we all feel sad.
Now, I do want to point out that you've sort of taken a liberty here and made Sophie Canadian with a sorry.
With the sorry. I'm sorry that you don't know how to pronounce that word. Last I checked, O doesn't make the ah sound, but...
It makes an ori? Okay. So, anyway, we all know who's right here. The numbers are on my side in terms of listener demographics. So, yeah, so this is possibly the most surprising and upsetting death in the series for me. It is so fucking out of nowhere.
This is one that, like, I legitimately wiped this one from my memory because it upset me so much.
I wish I could do that. I sincerely wish I could do that. The fucking image is engraved in my brain and is just so upsetting.
It's really interesting, too. This page where it happens, the panels are blown out to the side. There's only the gutter between the top and bottom panel, but it really emphasizes the drama of what's happening.
Yeah. And also, I think the thing that hurts the most for me is that we very much are seeing this from not necessarily from the perspective of younger Sophie, but she's largely in frame for nearly every...
Yeah.
So it feels like you're constantly thinking of her perspective and her reaction to this, and it being, her fault for going down there when she was told not to, and them having to save her. And it is such a real sort of childlike reaction just to start apologizing quietly.
Yeah.
In shock.
I think it's really cool the silence of the moment the brand gets cut in half, because the next page is very busy with action. There's the big the no, the dragon skulking off, even the electricity is very big, but the scene of the brand getting killed is just like it happens in the blink of an eye, and it is quick and silent and terrifying.
Yeah. No, this just bums me out. I was not looking forward to reading this issue. I wasn't happy reading this issue. This is one of the first where it's just like, I didn't want this. I'm going to be a big piss boy about it. I don't want none of this.
The brand, it's so mean because the brand, and I mean, you should have seen it coming because there's nothing like... I guess the brand is kind of tied up morally a little bit with Upshur and Doff, who you like, but the brand is just such a cool, interesting, likable character, and she just drops into the story, and immediately you're like, oh, this is great. And she's got like a big red Bernese mountain dog, and she's so cool, and then this.
Yeah, which, I will say, her being tied to Upshur and Doff, that does remind me, it was mentioned explicitly a lot of times, and also probably should have helped us see this coming, but they kept saying that their, what is it called? The toxin she used, that's like...
Yeah, I forget what it's called. It's something clever.
It's, embargo or embarg something. Yeah. It's a play on embargo. They kept saying over and over, as long as the person who used the toxin is alive, then you can't talk about it which, we really should have seen this coming, because they were very specific about pointing that out. But I guess they're free from that toxin now. But this wasn't worth it. Also, did you notice what happened to Gwendolyn's hair here?
Yes, it turned white.
Like she gets like a Bride of Frankenstein streak down the middle.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's like a rogue look.
It's like it's like the thing that happens to the cat in all the Pepe Le Pew cartoons that makes Pepe Le Pew attracted to her because he thinks she's a skunk.
It's what gets Pepe horny.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
It's what gets Pepe horny. We have a lot of competing titles for this this episode. But yeah, no, we you know what, we get two lightnings in here. I still think the lightning on the cover is in reference to the julep sword, but man, I'm sad it paid off. This one fucking sucked.
Yeah. The howl of Sweet Boy at the end is what does it to me. I mean, you don't see the sound,
no, it is,
but you can hear it in your mind.
Everything here is just upsetting. Like, it is just so
awful. Everything.
The way Gwendolyn reacts, the way Sophie reacts, the way Sweet Boy reacts, all of it is just the way I react. It's so fucking sad. Yep. And you know what, Noah? I just realized the fucking biggest foreshadowing. They were on a cut-in-half planet this entire time.
Oh my fucking god. How did I miss that?
Son of a bitch. I hate this book. This is a bad book.
Oh my god.
No more podcast. This is a mean book. Yeah. This book mean to me. This book made me piss boy.
This is now an Adventure Time podcast.
So this one hurt, and you know what? This is just, and what also sucks is that this is kind of, I remember this being the case on my first read through too, that the book kind of feels like, especially from this point on, that it goes into a bit of a bummer spiral. And some, just to spoil the tone, whether or not, good or bad things happen. This book for, at least another, 2 or 3 issues just feels like such a bummer at certain points, just the things that hurt me. And I will say that does lead into what is probably my favorite issue, just because it is so sorely needed after the direction this book goes into, that it does have its ups again, and we do get some fun adventures. But yeah, no, I've been struggling with this just because, like Brian K. Vaughan said, the reason people die is because this is sort of like, it's a way to cope with awful things like death, in sort of a safe way, in a non-real way, because it still fucking hurts, but it's not for real. So,
and it's really good that we're not coping with anything real that's difficult and challenging and emotional. That's the thing, is right, it's like
now I've hit the point where it's like, oh no, I'm coping with this in real life, and now I have to cope with the book version too, and it's everywhere.
Also, if you're listening to this later and wondering the context of those comments, it is currently the end of April 2020.
And this is we're right after when the new James Bond movie would have come out, and that's what's really bumming everyone out. Yep. And it's just, we missed the James Bond movie, and we all those good movies. No New Mutants.
This is
the worst.
This is a Monday, and I believe this is the start of week 7 of social isolation for myself, possibly week 8.
Yeah, no, I think I'm right there with you. Also, I think I just hit week 7 of being sick from the James Bond pushback
from
release date.
The James Bond grief, yeah.
Yeah. So this one kind of felt like work. But also, the nice thing about this podcast versus my original read through, and we get to, at least we're not alone in it. Like, there's now a support group that is the form of this podcast and the community that's sprouted up around it, that like at least we could cope with this together and we're not alone. And so let that be a bit of consolation, and boy will I be fucking relieved when we get to some of the higher points of this book and how badly I need them right now. And just that feeling of, hey, things do get better sometimes when they aren't good and you feel like just a top-notch piss boy. Ugh.
Yeah. I've got to say, this issue, it's interesting. I feel like sometimes, and generally a lot of really big stuff happens in the penultimate issue, and this kind of, it seems like there's going to be a denouement to, or maybe just question marks as to Sophie and Gwendolyn's plot after this, but we are geared up. Marco and Alana are back on the same planet.
Yeah, and also, like, they're getting the thing. Technically, they were somewhat successful in their quest. They can bring the will back, so we have that to look forward to.
Yeah. So we're lining up. I think this did a good job of escalating stakes. It also did a good job, like, plot wise. It's very interesting because, like, they're. Honestly, God, I feel so, like, inhuman when I talk about this because I'm so related. Like I care about these characters so much.
Yeah.
But, it, like, the brand has served a really, like, as a plot tool, the brand has been incredible. The brand came in, the brand gave you, the brand silenced, Upshur and Doff. The brand gave you a lot of backstory about the will. The brand provided a bit of a mentor figure for Sophie. The brand helped them get what they needed to bring back the will, and then the brand was unceremoniously disposed of.
She had a good run.
I think it's a good example of, I think altogether too often, characters are killed to advance the plot, or are fridged, basically.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good example of introducing somebody and killing them off when the plot didn't need them anymore, but doing it in a very raw human way, making them a complex, likable character with hopes and fears, and like, not just a plot tool. Like, this, the brand really did feel like a breathing person. But she also served a very important role in the broader story, you know?
Yeah. And also, like, as nice as it is to remember how good of a character she was, I'm just gonna say, if you feel shitty about it, if you feel sad about it, no need to, like, I know that already in this podcast I've been like, but there's this and there's this, but also, you're allowed to feel sad about it. And I don't want people to feel, let yourself feel sad about it, and don't push away those emotions. I think especially now it's very important to just accept that feeling when it comes, and know that it'll end, and you're going to get through it, and you've gotten through it every other time. And this is, again, it's a safe, it's a safe way to practice coping with these things. And so, yeah, I'm a big advocate for, I probably cried the first time I read this because it fucking hurts.
Oh God, I have definitely cried from reading Saga, and will again in the future.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, it feels shitty. It feels you probably feel like a piss boy or a piss girl or a piss otherwise right now. And you know what I say? Piss those tears right out of your eyes. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to piss tears. That's our takeaway from this issue.
I like how you tossed an R there. You included me. You implicated me in your weird piss tear imagery.
Noah and I were talking about this right before how important it is to piss tears out of your eyes right now. So yeah, I wish there was another term for it, but that's it. Noah, Noah,
John.
we're all coping. We're all going through this. Let's make it a little more positive. What's your favorite moment?
My favorite moment, I pointed it out, but I love it so much. I think we're going on a streak now of little Goose moments being my favorite. Goose being tossed in the air and saying, "Oh gosh." That is a little wholesome nugget in an issue full of death and violence.
This whole arc has been very good about throwing in just really solid comedic beats amidst all the awfulness. Because this has also been a fucking that was this arc that we got like Marco's like bad trip and all this. Like this has been a rough arc for everyone. But yeah, no. Actually, I'm gonna go with a funny beat too, and it's their reaction to seeing the dragon. It's so good.
I knew you were gonna go with that.
No. What about music? What do we got for music? What's our song?
All right, so I was thinking about the brand being cut in half, and it reminded me of a musician who tragically cut his brother in half in a freak machete fight accident.
I think I've heard about this.
Yeah. So I'm gonna suggest Black Sheep by Dewey Cox, which is a psychedelic reflection on the trauma of cutting a loved one in half in a freak machete fight accident.
Oh, so many fucking quotes from that movie just popped into my brain, and I need to watch it again. Holy shit, it's so good.
Yo, shit! I just pulled up the lyrics on Genius, and someone linked to my video on it.
Oh, nice! You're part of the legacy now.
Yeah.
That's great. Fuck ancient Egypt. That's what I have to say about that. You know what? I'm gonna go with something that's a little more tasteful, and a little less on the nose. I'm gonna go with "Bite Me" by Kilo Kish. So,
nice.
If you want a song, I will say, if you haven't heard Kilo Kish, it's one of my favorite artists right now. She is phenomenal. Bite Me is a weird spot to start out on, but I just wanted a reason to put Kilo Kish in here. But yeah, go check out that song, I guess. And Noah, we blew our music budget. We can't do the song anymore.
Oh no.
For question of the week. Well, hold on. My stimulus check just came in. We're good. Go ahead and play that. Ooh.
You were sitting on that for a while, eh?
No, I was not. I was like, hold on.
Great.
I do want to play the music. How do I get out of this? Fun fact, my stimulus check hasn't come in yet, and it fucking sucks, and I'm waiting for that. But hey, you know what? I put in my own personal money to get you that theme. Hey, Noah, do you have a question of the week? Don't be fucking depressing about it. Don't be fucking depressing about it, Noah.
Why do we read this comic?
Hey, I'm the piss boy. Jesus Christ. Okay, why do you, just why do we collectively? Yeah. More of a sociological perspective on this one, preferably. Nothing anecdotal. I do like that. Okay, and I'm gonna go with what's something you do to cope with bummers? What's a nice what's just one thing that you do that makes you feel happy?
Meth.
There you go. Math is a good thing to do when you're feeling sad. That's a good suggestion, Noah. Okay, where can people find you, Noah?
Oh, I don't know. In my living room. I've been here for weeks. No, you can find me on socials at Watch Polyphonic. You can find me on YouTube at Polyphonic. Yeah, I don't know when this will be coming out, but I've got a video coming about cover songs soon that's gonna be pretty fucking lit. And check out my Instagram. I've been doing weird shit there at Watch Polyphonic.
Some inside baseball here. Is the one that you didn't release before, wasn't that about covers?
There was one that I didn't release about covers. Yeah.
Is this at all related to that?
Vaguely.
Has your perspective changed at all? Have you gone more positive with it?
Yeah, I figured a way. So I talk about a lot of the same covers in it, but I figured out a different way to do it. The intro is actually very similar. There's pieces from that, but that's also something I did years ago. It would have been like one of the first 10 or 11 polyphonic videos. So I've revisited it. Yeah, and it's 20 minutes long and a lot of 3D animation. So my GPU hates me.
That's too much, man.
Yeah, who the hell would make who would have the nerve to make a 20-minute video essay?
I have too many hour and 10-minute fucking podcasts about Saga to listen to.
Who would have the nerve to make a 28-minute and 54-second video essay?
Hey, also, you know what? Speaking of covers, whether or not it conflicts with whatever you posit within your cover video, I'm gonna suggest this week, go check out Dave from Glass Animals. I think on the Glass Animals YouTube thing has been just like filming himself just creating covers of good songs on the spot and in quarantine and from his studio. And it's very therapeutic, and it's cool to just watch people be creative, and it's cool to see people's takes on things. That's my opinion on covers. Oh, also, I'm boosting someone else's shit. This might be the first episode where I can say, go watch my new video.
Oh, yeah.
Over the course of this whole fucking series. This is the first time I can say, go watch my new video.
No, last episode you said that, didn't you?
Oh, well, you know what? Go watch my new video. That's what I'm going to say now. Yeah, I worked hard on that one. And then after that, go watch Noah's video, I guess. All right.
No, watch John's twice.
Hey, thank you so much to Fiona Staples, Brian K. Vaughan, Phonographics, and Image Comics for making the biggest bummer but still really good comic book in the world. Thank you to Fiona Apple, who I almost said thank you to there, for making a really good album. Go check that out too. And Noah, I think I'm gonna cover the outro on this one if that's
really, because
okay
I had one. I had one too. I think it's gonna be the same thing. We
probably had an identical one.
It's gonna be the same thing. All right, you can do it. You can do it.
All right. And as always, am I pissing?
Yup, there it is.
Goodbye. Classic piss boy line.